Welcome to the Outer Bounders season two and a half. Because our season two, there was like one episode, so this is season two and a half. But
Yeah,
it will be a longer season two and a half, I think. So yeah. How are you, Alejo? You're looking great.
I'm good. Oh, thank you so much. Yes. We're starting with the sun in Capricorn, so I think it's a sign that it's going to last longer. Yes.
True. That's a Saturn ruled sign. And yeah, I love Capricorn. So I think that's a great omen. It's true. How are you feeling about Saturn moving to Pisces?
A bit, to be honest, I'm a bit uneasy about it. What about you?
Are you? Well, I'm the Virgo here, and I'm not really uneasy, I have to say. I mean, I'm thinking, one of the best things with the Saturn transit is receiving rewards, right? So whatever hard work you've been doing for how long you've been doing, there's some like rewards on the way. So I feel that this is what that Saturn in Pisces opposition my Mercury and my Sun will be bestowing me with like
Yeah.
reward. Because the what's it called?
In cultural astronomy and astrology.
Yeah, no, but the graduation. So the graduation
Ah.
is going to be when Saturn is opposing my Mercury and Sun.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just feel like this is definitely like a coronation of all of the hard work I put into it, and like
It is. How brave. How great.
yeah. So I feel positive. I mean, we're also like Saturn moving from Saturn's realm as well, isn't it? Like the last 4 years, Saturn was in a Saturn ruled sign.
That's why I'm scared.
Yeah.
And I don't usually follow the dignities. I'm quite against the idea of using the dignities, as you know.
Yeah.
I'm not against it, but I'm very cautious. I think it is a lot of cultural pre-assumptions on the dignities. So I always am a bit kind of, as a Latin
Yeah.
American, I always have this view of astrology that it's a bit, it's
Yeah.
expressing a culture from a certain moment and a certain period of time.
Yeah.
And so I don't trust so much the dignities and the exaltations. I don't use them that much when I do natal astrology. However, I must confess that I'm a bit scared of Saturn going into Pisces.
Yeah.
My Saturn is exalted in Libra.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I always, even though I don't like I don't
The
like the
dignity.
dignities and
You're
everything,
secretly proud of it.
I'm very proud of myself in Libra. So I was like very happy that Saturn was in Capricorn and in Aquarius. I was like, yeah, this is the way it should be.
Yeah.
And then now it's going to Pisces. I'm like, oh my God, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. Saturn went in Capricorn, and we had the pandemic. Like, it wasn't, it wasn't exactly like a,
Yeah, it's
Saturn.
true. But for me,
sign.
for me as an individual,
Mm,
since Saturn went into Capricorn, a lot of good things started happening to me. Like
yeah,
to
yeah,
me, the passage through Saturn through Capricorn and Aquarius, both of
yeah,
them, it was something like very, very positive. Very, very
yeah.
positive.
Nice. You see, nice. That's what I'm saying. Some of Saturn transits are amazing for like rewarding and like bringing
Yes.
opportunities, and I love it as well. I mean, I personally didn't have a hard time with Saturn either in Capricorn or Aquarius. It was a great transit for me as well. I think it was harder for me when my Venus progressed over my natal Saturn. That was harder.
Which is supposed to be a moment of blessed and feeling pleasure and
Yeah.
loving life and joyful life and loving yourself and blah, blah, blah. And in the end, it was harder. Yeah.
The progressed Venus on my Saturn it was, but guess what? My Saturn's in the 12th. So I think it has a little resonance with that natal placement being a bit of a blind spot. In fact, do you notice sometimes the lunar transit's activating some hard placements in your chart, and then you're like, I had a difficult day that day. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I also think it depends a lot on your chart. Like, where is the natal position of the. I remember I have a friend, an astrologer friend from Argentina. He always telling me that because I never had a difficult time with Saturn transits. I mean, of course, it's always a bit difficult. You always have to work and it requires effort and commitment. But I've never felt it like this is so bad.
Yeah.
And when I was talking with him, he said, you have a very nice Saturn in your chart. I don't like the idea of having a nice or an ugly Saturn, to be honest. But he was like, and you can challenge that. I have a Saturn in Libra, but it's conjunct Pluto.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, I have a nice Saturn, or is it so nice? I'm not sure. I'm not so sure. But I don't like the idea of thinking that some placements are nice or ugly, you know. But he said something like that. And, you know, and maybe I understand this idea that because, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think it's the nature of a chart as well. Whereas, like, I know of somebody, for example, that has a really, really difficult times when there's a Saturn transit for them, and their chart is extremely Jupiterian. It's like a Sag rising, Jupiter in Sagittarius, you know, Mars, Venus in Leo. There's a lot of fire. There's a lot of like, let's have fun, let's have a good time. And then when Saturn comes over their ascendant, or when it did come over their ascendant, or when it opposite their Leo planets, they had a really difficult time. And there's a lot of resistance to.
Yes, I like that idea much more.
Yeah,
it's not that you have a nice or nice or
yeah.
It's like every chart has a focus, and that creates a shadow.
Exactly.
Maybe my chart is quite Capricornian. I have a lot of, I don't know.
Exactly. So you already do the work anyway. So when Saturn comes along, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know life is about effort and working hard, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I agree. I really agree. So tell me, how have you been? We haven't spoken for a while. Have you been busy? Because I know you're being really busy.
I have been super busy. But there's something else I wanted to say about Saturn, but now it's slipped off my mind. I don't know. About Saturn, the idea of, I don't know. Well, anyway. So
the Saturn in Pisces, maybe, because that's how the conversation all started.
Now the idea of reward, and I don't know. It's okay. I mean, to me, Saturn is always a bit of a dual nature, but there's always, like we were saying before, there's this idea of effort and reward at the same time. The idea of, you know, to make commitments requires to put. I remember. You were saying that Saturn has been in his realm, like Capricorn and Aquarius, and the pandemic happened, right?
Yeah.
And what I wanted to say when you said that was that in the Greek mythology, when you think about the ages of men, the golden age for the Greeks is the age where Kronos, who is kind of Saturn, is in charge. Right. So for them, the golden age is the age of order and kind of restriction. You know, so it's quite interesting, like how we approach these different ideas, right? Because for them, you know, there was this idea of balance and order was the golden age. So it's interesting how like I feel like it was a great years, and you said, well, it was actually the pandemic, which was a lot about restrictions, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And then now we're living the age of Zeus, because Zeus took away, you know, he took over Saturn, Kronos, and now we're living the age of Zeus, which is the age of freedom supposedly, and the age of freedom and experiences and expansion and all of that, right? And this is the age we're living on, and for them it was like, it was not as good as the golden age,
right?
And I think it's interesting, like in the pandemic, like you were saying, Saturn was at home, so he could be like, this is my time, I'm ruling again, let's say. And it was a time of restrictions and difficulties and all of that, so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, very much. And again, like the whole like natural tendency comes into play, because, you know, I told you I recently found out I'm a highly sensitive person. So there's like a whole new area of knowledge for me, of discovering as well, and reading a lot of researches. So you listeners that are listening to us and you never heard of that. So highly sensitive people is apparently 20% of the world population that tends to process information very differently. So it's like basically scientific. Your brain works differently. We're not talking about being an empath and a spiritual tendency. And I'm not saying it's true or it's wrong or it's correct. But this, I am a Virgo. I love academic backed up information. And so that's backed up information and discover. So there's a lot of different characteristics, like from feeling emotions intensely to perceiving everything that's happening in the environment a lot more, in an enhanced and heightened way than most people are. From like having strong empathy as well for other people. There's like a lot of different characteristics, but one of them is that you get overwhelmed more often, because if you can perceive everything that's happening in the environment all the time, you tend to get overwhelmed. So all of that to say, I found my HSP, and I have to say, during Saturn domain in Capricorn, when everything was restricted in the whole like lockdown, I actually had a good time. And I mean, I don't mean like the pandemic was great. I don't mean I didn't feel sorry for a lot of people losing their loved ones, and it was a horrible time. But because it was so quiet, like people weren't going anywhere, there wasn't any traffic, there wasn't any noise. It's just like,
Yeah.
it was so restful. It was really
Yes.
like, and now knowing the whole HSP like made so much sense. I was like, oh wow, that's why I kind of was able to relax, like, with the lack of stimulation. That's basically what it was.
It's amazing. And have you found any astrological signatures, let's say,
To
that may
HSP,
be, yes, that may be kind of prominent or.
I would imagine that would have some kind of Neptunian vibes, because Neptune dissolves boundaries and barriers so much. Like strong Neptune, strong Pisces, strong water in general, because you're like more
Yeah.
receptive. But it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, it's so interesting because they found 20% of a lot of other species as well, like 100 species, fish, monkeys, like a lot of other species also have 20% of highly sensitive.
Wow.
And it apparently has something to do with evolution and like survival, basically, of the species, because we work like the sort of like, we perceive the smoke before everybody else, we smell the fruits like before everybody else, like because our senses are a lot more
Ah.
they're like sort of stronger, more sensitive, so we can like guide the pack, say, hey, I think there's fruit over there, or like, hey, I think there's danger here.
I think I'm the opposite of that. Oh my God.
Yeah, but it's really revealing, I have to say, when like it's like, wow, it's really changed. So yeah, I would imagine that a strong Neptune. I've got Venus Neptune square, and yeah, I don't know, I would imagine that something like that would be a kind of a
Yeah.
signal. Definitely want to work with that a little bit more and find out,
Yes.
talk to more highly sensitive people and see what they have to say. But if you are, and if you're listening to this, you're not alone. And you have the license to be yourself and to rest as much as you need. And what are your thoughts on the Pluto entering Aquarius as well? How are you feeling about that?
Well, I saw your talk on Rod Channels, on Rod Chang's school, Academy of Astrology. It was a wonderful talk, actually. If you have not seen it, I think you should contact Academy of Astrology to see if you can see it. I was very, it was very interesting, the themes that you came up with. Artificial intelligence, it's a bit, I'm both attracted and scared of it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to make a huge change. And I'm working on it because on the 14th I have to do my presentation on Pluto in Aquarius. So I'm still researching a bit on it. My take is this idea of what is the price to pay in order to achieve freedom, which is like the Aquarius theme, right? And whether if we're going to be blinded by this desire for freedom or not, because freedom is a dangerous concept. I think it's very romanticized, and it's not, when you want to ground it and to make it real. It's not, one thing is in an abstract thought, and the other thing is like in reality. What does it mean? How do you apply this concept to reality?
Freedom
So
freedom to who, to do what, at the expense of who, is always
There's never total freedom, I think. We dream with this idea of total freedom, but there's never total freedom. So when we fight for freedom, We don't know that we're actually fighting also for some form of restriction, because there's never total freedom. But we're blinded only in looking at the freedom, so we don't see that we're actually also applying these restrictive rules, which is not necessarily bad. I mean, we need rules and regulations. Maybe I think we
Because
do,
it's
but
Saturn.
maybe we can challenge that. But I think we need them. So it's not necessarily bad. But I think the problem is when it becomes unconscious. And with Pluto, a lot of things are hidden. A lot of things become unconscious. Because Pluto is so intense and it takes things to black and white, it may be very hard to see it. So kind of this is my thought, like how is it going to be played out? Yes,
Yeah.
this is what I'm thinking for the moment.
Yeah. Is it going to be any particular personal transit that Pluto in Aquarius will pick it up for you? I feel personal transits is always like a clue on your personal role in the collective.
It is going to pick up, of course, but not right now. In a few years,
Take a while.
it's going to pick up a lot of stuff. Just like Saturn picked up a lot of stuff, Pluto is going to pick up a lot of stuff, and Uranus is still picking up a lot of stuff. So wish me luck.
So you're definitely a piece of the collective there. So you're definitely going to be speaking up for some of these changes and
If I survive it.
having a role as well in the collective. Yeah, I mean that Pluto's going to pick up my IC as well, and I'm like, wow, what's going to happen there?
When have you checked when exactly?
It's going to take a few years, I think.
A few years, okay.
Yeah, it's going to take a few, like at least I don't know, maybe not 10, maybe 10 years, a little less than 10 years.
Yeah, but, because it stayed there for like 20 years, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be long.
I was really wondering, and in fact, I did have Neptune on my IC. I've had Uranus on my IC as well. I've had some of the big ones in my IC already. So I'm like, okay, last one for the collection. All the big planets coming.
All of the friendly foes, they all have to come to home, to the IC. They're all invited home. You're all welcome. Yes.
You're gonna have to show me what they mean. You know, what are they about in that area? I love to use
something. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. No, I just love to use this personal transits in this way, like a scientist. Like, okay, so that's what it means in this place. You know, there's always a little bit of a detachment or disengagement. There's a little bit of me that disengage with the experience and look at it from the perspective of an astrologer. Like, so that's what it means. And then the other 90% of me is like kicking, screaming, and crying on the floor.
Yeah, I think mine is like 99% screaming and crying, and only 1%. Oh, that's what it means. Maybe after it's passed, I'm like, that's what it meant.
Hindsight.
I mean, maybe not screaming and crying. I am more like, I try to be more like,
Saturnian.
yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Let's do the work. Yeah, I think I am Saturnian in that sense. Like, I'm like, okay, let me learn what's the work I have to do here. I do have this approach. Like, actually, with my therapist the other day, we were talking about that, because the last 2 sessions, I felt like I didn't go to any deep place. So the previous 2 sessions, so the last session, which was yesterday, I was talking with her like, I'm frustrated because I'm not working anymore, like as an how do you say, not the analyst, the other, like the client. I don't like the word client.
Analysis. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I was like, I feel frustrated because I'm not doing the work. And she was like, come on, Alejo, it's okay if you have 2 sessions that are a bit more lighthearted. It's okay. It's part of the process. And I was like, so frustrated. I'm not doing the work, Yeah. It's part of doing the work also, being a little bit chill. It's part also of doing the work.
There are breaks in between, isn't it? Definitely. That's the Saturnian nature there, for sure. That's amazing, though. I mean, yeah. Do you have any nice plans for holiday?
I'm going to go to Barcelona for Christmas to visit my goddaughter.
Nice. Yeah.
Yes. And then I come back to Greece. Are you going to stay in Sao Paulo? You're in Sao Paulo, right?
Yeah.
Are you planning to stay there for a long time?
I'm coming back in March, so I'm definitely I'm still like following my idea of staying 6 months in Brazil and then 6 months out in the world.
Have you relocated your chart to the place where you're going?
Good point, actually. I have. I remember I relocated my chart to Greece when I was in Greece, and
Ah.
and I felt that was a good chart for writing my dissertation, which was the point of like doing it. But I had Jupiter on my rising. I think
Hmm.
when I relocated to Greece, I had Jupiter rising, so I thought it was a good placement because Jupiter is trying my Mercury natally, and I was like, okay, that
Hmm.
Jupiter is going to be very intense in my ascendant
And
there.
it worked.
It did work, yeah. It did work. I did a lot of work there.
Very
It was
good.
intense. I've never like have this very Uranian nature. Like I love Saturn as well, but I think I have a very strong Uranian nature. And I never wrote something for that long. It was such a like to write the same thing for like 6 months. Wow.
Yeah, I have to start. I'm so late. I have to start.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
choose your topic already? Did you choose
I have
anything?
my topic, but I don't have it well structured. I think now I came up with an idea actually. I have to go back to
No.
the forum.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah,
But
no, it's amazing. Yeah. What you were saying?
I've relocated my chart to Greece. This is what why I asked you. And in Greece, I get Taurus rising.
Mm.
At first I was like, it's so nice. It's a pleasant kind of life. But
Yeah.
now everything becomes so slow for me. So slow. And when you're saying like when you have a transit, you go like, so this is what it means.
Yeah.
So like every time I get angry, because I get angry a lot, because everything is like I feel everything is so slow and so no. Taurus is an earth sign, and one of the words I always used was the idea of being pragmatic. And I'm
Mm.
starting to question that, at least when it's on the ascendant. I don't think it's so pragmatic. I think it's so slow. Like
Yeah.
everything. I feel like everything is not efficient enough, so that's why it takes so long.
Mm.
So I'm going
Mm.
crazy. And the other day, I was arguing with because as you can see, my living room, I only have the couch because
Oh wow,
I'm
I love
still.
the color though. The
Thank you,
yeah, it's really beautiful. I love it.
thank you.
Yeah.
I painted the walls.
Nice.
Just a note. So I was waiting for the furniture to arrive, which was supposed to
Hmm.
arrive on the 9th of December, and still waiting for some of the
Hmm.
furniture. And today I called and they promised it's going to come here tomorrow. Let's see if it's true. Uh,
Wow.
I was so angry, and at some point I got like this blink of an insight, and I was like, "This is what people with Taurus rising feel all the time."
As Taurus rising come out into the world really slow.
And I was like, "How do they cope with this? How now I understand. How can they cope with this? Probably if it's in your natal chart, you got used to this
Yeah.
because it's not
I
in my
think
natal chart. Yeah,
yeah, I think in your natal chart you just is your style of coming out into the world, isn't it? They need more time. They're a bit slower. They need more time to make decisions, or they
yeah.
enjoy things a bit slower. Whereas in your case, it's like your relocated chart, and that translated in like how everything there
For me,
works.
it's crazy. I'm so used to things being so dynamic, and it's
Yeah,
crazy. And it's
yeah.
interesting what you say about enjoyment because my friends from here, they're telling me, "Come on, Alejo, you're moving to your home. You should enjoy the process. They'll go slowly." I'm like, "What? You want me to go even more slow? You
Yeah.
want me to be slower than this? What? No, no way.
I think
It's
that's just
crazy.
your strong Saturn there being like, no, that's not efficient.
It's not efficient.
Yeah.
It's so no efficient. Sometimes I think some things are so no efficient and I go crazy. Yeah.
Do you usually relocate your chart to decide where you're going for holidays?
No,
Done that
not to be.
before? No?
You've done it.
No, as well. I mean, I did look, I was like, okay, what about Greece? If I go to Greece to write my dissertation, and then I had a little relocation and I had a little look at it. But I don't think I've ever, to be honest, I think there is an intuition, right? Like it's like I feel really drawn to this place. And then when you do the relocation, you're like, oh.
I think so too. It's like when you meet somebody.
Yeah.
So I'm single now. So when I go on dates and stuff,
Mhm.
people ask me to see their charts. Not all the time, but most of the time when they're laying around astrology, like, can you see my chart? And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not going to see your chart. I mean, if intuitively something is happening here, let's
Yeah.
see how it develops before trying to organize it and to, to
Right.
structure it like what's happening.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you sometimes it happens also when people ask you for relationship charts and stuff like that, right? And it's like, I mean, if you were, and I had once a client that was telling me, do you think we're meant to be? And I'm like,
Mhm.
what's that
What
question?
does that even
If you're
mean?
together, it means there is an attraction, there is something that's happening, that you were called to each other
To
to be part
learn.
of whatever you are doing, whatever you are becoming. So it's like,
Yeah.
come on, what is
Yeah.
that question?
All kind
I
of.
think with places it's kind of similar, but I have looked, like you're saying, like backwards. Like I remember once I was in a place in Argentina called Capilla del Monte,
Mm-hmm.
which is a very interesting place because every time I go there, something, it's a place where important things happen to me, important
Mm-hmm.
changes happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't relocate the chart, but I looked at the last time I was there. It was when it was like finally decided that I had to stop being a flight attendant to become
Mm-hmm.
full-time astrologer because I was doing both for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And the full stop came because something happened when I was there. I'm not going to tell the whole story now. And so I was with a friend and I was curious and we said, let's look at the astrocartography. And
Mm-hmm.
my Pluto line goes exactly over that city.
Right.
It's
And
amazing.
is the Pluto on an angle, or like, what do you mean by the Pluto line?
Pluto becomes on an angle, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. I think I have a Pluto angle in Russia, and I've always felt really scared of going to Russia.
Don't go. No, I mean, for me it was all of these things were intense, of course, and they were quite they were
Transformative.
intense. Sorry,
Transformative.
transformative. I mean, and they were stressful. I'm not going to say it was easy. They were stressful. They were very stressful, very like energy draining.
Mhm.
But the result has been excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. I don't think I've been to places where I had at least like outer planets in angles like that. Um, I had moon on the descendant when I went to Thailand, and that was really nice actually.
Ah,
Like
yeah, it must have been nice. Yes.
yeah, moon in Libra on the descendant. Everyone was so nice to me. Which is true, everyone was so nice. And at the time, I was playing ukulele. I mean, I haven't played ukulele for ages, but I learned how to play ukulele. So I could play ukulele while I was traveling. And it's this like hitchhiking travel I did. So I went all the way from, that's when Pluto was square my moon, actually, by the way. And I did a whole hitchhiking trip from Amsterdam to Istanbul with a friend. And then from there, we flew to Thailand, and I was there for 3 months, like learning yoga and doing, some Pluto moon detox, transformative things. And everyone was so nice about my ukulele playing. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, you're so nice! You sound so nice!" and blah blah blah. And, my partner, who is a musician, I was just about to say a kind of musician because he's a rapper, and it's like he's not a musician; he's a kind of.
Ah, be careful! Come on, you can earn the hatred of so many people if you.
I know exactly. Then I'm gonna, put.
We could do a podcast on is should we consider this or not? Controversial topic. Should we
Yeah,
consider
exactly. It's very controversial. And I mean, he laughs about it. He's a double Gemini. He laughs about it. He doesn't get offended, but he points out, I don't consider music. But I do now. He's teaching me. I'm learning. I swear. I do consider rap music as well. But anyways, he's a musician, and he always says that I'm not a good singer. How
So that's when you take revenge and you say you're not a real musician, you're just a rapper. You're not really into the category of music.
exactly. Yeah, well, you don't sound very well when you're singing. And I was like, God, in Thailand, everyone loved my singing. And that's the moon in the descendant, you see. Moon in Libra. Everyone was a people pleaser to me. Everyone was like, oh, wow, you're so good.
Nice,
So
nice.
it's amazing, though. I didn't choose there because of that. So I think you're right when you compare with the relationships. There's a kind of a natural, because it's the same. I mean, you're saying I love this very Saturnian side of yours that can hold back from casting the chart of someone you're dating. I mean, this is amazing. I've never been able to do that.
Really? Oh my God! No, and they start telling me things. Because here in Greece they usually know. A lot of
Yeah,
people know
their
the charts.
chart.
Maybe not the whole chart, but definitely the sun and the ascendant they know. And some people
Yeah.
they know even more. So they start telling me. I'm like, stop, stop.
Don't tell me.
And the other day we were with some friends actually, and it was there was a guy who was the boyfriend of one of my friends,
Yeah.
and he started saying, "Ah, well, I have my chart here in this app," and I was like, "Ah, okay," and he started saying, I have this and that and that," and my friend said, "Anyway, he cannot figure out what you're saying." I'm like, "Yeah, I can actually. I have now have made a complete psychological profile of this
Yes.
person in my
I'm
head."
hoping. And even as soon as with my own chart, like where we can like jam together or not. Exactly. I mean, when I was going out on dates, I haven't been on dates for ages. But like when I was going out on dates, I used to go out. I never done like apps and like online dating. I never worked for me. I don't have a lot of Aquarius in my chart. But I used to go to bars and meet people there, meet guys there. And like one of the first things I asked is like their charts. Because I was so curious to see like, because I'm like picking up on something. I remember there was a guy, and it's like one night stands I'm talking about here. Like I had
Yeah, yeah,
no
yeah. I
interest
would never
in
do it.
knowing if we are gonna be together for a long time. I just wanted to see why I was feeling the way I was feeling with that person in that moment. And I remember one night stand, and no, I don't even know his name now, but I remember that his Mercury was conquered my moon. And
You
like
remember
how
his
that
chart,
felt.
but not his name. Oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, this is ages ago. This is like before my Saturn return. It was like I was living in
So
London.
the whole night chatting and you were happy he was telling you.
His Mercury was my moon. It was so good to talk. Like the communicate, like it felt so natural.
I mean, for one night stands, I would look at their Mars and their Venus.
Yeah.
Yes, to
Well,
see how it's gonna
it
play it out with mine. Yes.
That's true, but it depends as well. Like, I mean, they're chart rulers and how that, because sometimes that's the thing. What I loved about that experiment, because it was like an experiment. The whole like having one night stands was an experiment for me, and using the astrology as well to understand it further was like a massive experiment as well. And I've learned so much astrology. So you out there listening to us as well, if you want to learn astrology and you're single, this is a great way because you
My
can.
advice is don't do it. It's gonna bring problems in the long term. Yes. Also, when astrologers are dating non-astrologers and suddenly they start using astrology,
Yeah.
they go
Well,
like,
that.
this is typical of you. You're a moon Scorpio trying to manipulate me.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's.
don't do that. Don't do that. And the worst thing is that if you stay with a person long enough, they are
Yeah.
going to learn astrology and they're going to fight back. So when that happens, you feel like, what? You're using my magic against me out there, you know?
Yeah. I mean, my partners though they still don't know. They never really knew much. They would say things like, "I've got was it? I got, I got." Like they would mix it. I got Venus on. No, they would like mix things like I got Scorpio and Gemini, and it's like,
Yeah,
mate,
yeah,
you
they
can't
mix
have
things.
Scorpio
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Gemini.
Sometimes they do, yes. Yeah, they do, yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, it was interesting though. It was really interesting. I think it's a little bit like the countries. Like
Yeah,
I
I mean,
feel
anyway,
very
it's
drawn to
true
the
that.
US.
Sorry,
Yeah, I
yeah.
feel very drawn there, and I've got amazing lines there. It's like
Mm,
that's why I feel so drawn to go there. Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
yeah. And then I was gonna say, like, even if you look at the charts of your dates, it's true that then you never know how this chart's being played out.
Yeah. Mm.
Like sometimes you see these aspects that you think are going to be so hard, and the person actually learned to cope with them, and they're so creative in the way they express them.
Yeah.
So you never really know. I mean, we get an idea, but it's always a hypothesis. Until we meet the person, we cannot never know. We can never know because we react, right? We react to our chart. We don't
Yeah.
just play it out. We react.
Yeah, and we also like we evolve with it as well. Like we
Yeah,
grow,
exactly.
we do things. And also, like we just mentioned about the moon, like when I asked you about the moon activating certain difficult placements in your chart and you have a bad day, or like half your,
Exactly. Yes,
like I had
exactly.
an example of that recently, like moon crossing my Saturn and my 12 in Scorpio, and I had a shit day. Like we went to complain about the phone, like the phone companies, they're terrible. And it was a real like difficult day because the customer service was so bad. And it triggered me massively, like emotionally. And I'm like, oh my God, why am I so triggered? And my sun, moon, and my Saturn. So even when we do personal work, there's always a moment, we're like, didn't sleep well, or we didn't eat enough, or, and we're feeling
Yeah,
depleted and
of
we're
course.
going to
Come
react
on.
badly to something.
We're
Yeah,
humans. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. That's the thing with
I mean,
astrology.
I think part of doing personal work is to be able to accept ourselves even when we are being
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, it's the self-awareness, isn't it? The more
Yeah.
self-awareness you have, the more you can be like, wow, I'm super triggered right now. I'm gonna go for a walk. And I'm like, gonna, I'm
Yeah, I
not
mean,
gonna say
because
anything.
like what triggers you, you cannot really like complexes. Like I'm bringing in my Jungian studies. Complexes, are like an independent part of the psyche. So they will never go away. They are there. Like, it's like they are your pets. It's like I have a friend who says it's like the dumb cousin in your family
Yeah.
that you still have to meet this person in Christmas, even though you hate this person and you would never spend time with them. You still have to meet them. They're still there. You're never gonna get rid of them because they are part of the family. So the
Yeah.
complexes are something like that. They are part of you. They are so you will never get rid of them. All you can do is try to be aware. So when you see them coming, and when you go to this Christmas
Recognize.
party, like now we're getting close to Christmas actually, you are ready. Okay, I'll try to
Yeah.
behave.
You recognize, isn't it? You recognize it. Yeah. So yeah, maybe you can react differently to it because you're more aware, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
that's amazing. I want to know more about your studies, but I know that we're coming to the end of our session, no? We're
Yes, I
coming to,
think it's yeah. We can talk more about it next on the next session
yeah,
and how
I'm very exciting.
we
Yeah,
can mix it with astrology also.
I'm
Complexes and
really,
astrology. Yes.
yeah. Are you studying Jungian psychology in Spain or in where are you
In
studying?
Argentina. So I live in Greece, but I'm studying through the association in Argentina because in Greece there's no association yet.
Right.
So in order to do it, I had to find an association. There is in Greece there is a group that is being formed to become the first association, but
Right.
they have already started studying.
Yeah,
So I arrived too late.
yeah.
And so I had to choose somewhere else to do it. And since I'm Argentinian, so I go to Argentina quite often. So part of
Right.
the training is online, and part of the training I have to go there.
Nice.
And I go to Argentina quite often. So yeah, it's good. It's
That's
nice. It's
amazing.
also the group is very nice. Two of my friends who are also astrologers are also studying there. So it's like I feel like I feel how
Nice.
this
That's
stupid thought.
amazing.
I feel like we are like Harry Potter, Hermione, and
Yeah.
what's the other names? The other
I
guy?
didn't know the ginger guy.
Yeah,
I don't know his name. But yeah, oh,
like
that's
the
really,
Harry Potter trio.
yeah, that sounds really cool. That sounds really amazing. I definitely want to do it eventually as well. Sounds great. Okay, nice. So I think we're coming to the end. And as you guys could hear, this is our new season, new format. And if you have any suggestions, any questions, any ideas that got sparked by our conversation and our catching up, please write to us, let us know, and we'll be happy to talk about it next week as well. Or is it next week?
Yeah, we should
We're
do
not-
it. Are we gonna do one each week? I think it could be nice. Yes.
Yeah, let's do one a week then. Nice. So
Yes.
we can talk about it next
We'll
week.
try to be Saturnians and to
Yeah,
do once a week.
in this highly Uranian and a highly Aquarian world, we're trying to become clear.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, wonderful. It's been great to
All
talk
right.
to you.
Yes, it's been great seeing you again.
Yeah. Okay. See you next week then, Alejo.
Take care. Take care, everyone. Hello.
Hey, welcome to Out of Boundaries podcast. Is it the Out of Boundaries show?
Yeah, we've changed the name so many times. I don't know now what's the name of the podcast. Because we have changed it to the moon cycle something, right?
Yeah, it was a lunar something that you preferred. It was a moon.
Yeah.
I can't remember as well.
But the
That's
out
something.
of boundaries worked better. I think we should stick with that.
Yeah.